work, I got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to My Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and another Tuesday, yay! Another Tuesday of craziness, yay! And I got some goodies for us to watch. This show is not going to be a long show. I always say that, but it always ends up being long. But this time, I'm sticking to it. We're going to see if we can do this in 2 hours or less, hopefully. With what I have here, should be good enough. Like, I even got a zoom in coming in. 2 hours. We're going to try to do it in 2 hours. Hopefully we get it done. There will be probably an add-on towards the end, but I think it'll be good. I just have a feeling there's going to be an add-on that's going to be really good. So without further ado, let's go straight up and watch the news. First up, Benny Johnson.
This land was a sacred burial ground for my people.
Yeah.
We will now call you Runs from Reparations.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. This is my single favorite story of the entire week. Finally, libs are being forced to live by their own rules and are getting their asses kicked when it comes to woke land acknowledgements. You've, of course, heard land acknowledgements. You can hear them at the Oscars or at concerts or at the DNC convention. Pretty much anytime a libtard gets a microphone, they will apologize to the tribes that once owned the land. But that doesn't make any sense because we kicked their asses, killed them, and kicked them off the land. Now it's our land. And that's how conquest works. And that's how it's always worked forever. By the way, those tribes kicked other people's asses, killed them, and kicked them off the land. And so on, and so on, and so on.
That's true.
And that's why I want America to be strong. So nobody can kick my ass and kick me off my land. Do you understand how that works? Hollywood doesn't. And that's why you hear stuff like this all the time at their events.
We gather in celebration of the Oscars on the ancestral lands of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples, the traditional caretakers of this water and land. We
Shut
offer
up.
respects to indigenous communities here and around the world.
Oh, you respect indigenous communities, huh?
While they're
Hollywood
standing on
Boulevard,
top of their land.
Weed and piss. It's disgusting and filth and trash. I was just there. This happens all the time. Here's Ben and Jerry's acknowledging that all of America is stolen land, right? Dude, you can take your ice cream company and you can move it to India. Why don't you do that, actually? See how it works out for you. Anyway, people are calling out Billie Eilish for saying this at the Grammys past weekend. She followed suit again with her libtard friends in saying we're on
I honestly
land.
don't feel like I need to say anything, but that no one is illegal on stolen land.
Stolen land.
Like a little
Well, then,
NPC.
It doesn't make any sense because all lands are stolen. We were dropped off here, so how is
Look,
this
the
stolen
COVID
land?
virus. Look, they invited
It makes
the COVID
sense.
virus here.
Like zero,
which is great.
People don't
I mean, these people are
understand
huge fans
history.
of the COVID
A
virus.
failed history.
So I wanted to break this down really quickly.
That's what
here.
they are
All right?
there.
Sabrina,
You're
why don't
not
you
educated.
please clap
They
for me,
just
all right?
propped
Clap for me,
up
Sabrina.
pieces of trash.
If no one's illegal, so no one's illegal on stolen land. Break that down. If the land is stolen, that means it belonged to someone.
To
right?
someone.
So someone owns it.
Hello.
So then are we illegal? If someone owns the land, then clearly they're going to be in control and they're going to say someone can and cannot be there. Nobody wants the whole earth, every person on earth on their land, obviously. So no one is illegal on stolen land. The whole
There's
thing,
nothing stolen.
it conflicts. You don't, none of it makes sense, right? Please clap for me, Sabrina.
Doesn't make sense.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I have a functional brain cell, so I know that. But Billie Eilish doesn't. And Billie Eilish doesn't realize that she's on the land of the Tonka tribe in her $14 million mansion.
Damn,
And
14
now
million.
there are some major moves by the Native American tribe that owns the land under Billie Eilish's mansion. They say they want their land back. So, like, you got to give it back because you're illegal on stolen land, Billie Eilish. Do you understand this?
Stupid.
Native American tribe that owns land under Billie Eilish's multi-million-dollar mansion said celebrities should explicitly reference the tribes and they want their money back. They want their land back.
They want their
The
land
Tonka
back.
tribe confirmed the Bad Guys singer's $3 million home does sit on his ancestral after the 24-year-old used her Grammy acceptance speech to rail against ICE and saying no one is illegal on stolen land. That presumably you stole the land, right? The indigenous inhabitants of the Los Angeles basin, known as the first Angelinos, they appreciate Eilish's sentiment. However, they noted the performer hasn't contacted them directly to give the land back.
Yes,
Would you
better
look
get
at
that land
this?
back.
Billie
$14 million
Eilish
house.
Lavish.
Knock it down.
Boy, that's quite a pad
Get
for
that land
LA.
back to the Indians.
Big old swimming pool. What do you got there? You
Shit,
got like
okay.
a giant like wraparound swimming pool, like a hot tub.
Knock it all down.
You got a lot of
tribal
patio
land.
furniture. Then here's some outhouses, sheds. Look at that. You got the horses. You got some horses there. Big old wall too. Giant wall. Look at this sprawling mansion estate. Doing some construction, maybe making it bigger. Look at the size of that wall. Look at the size of the security here. You got some ranch area. Boy, what a beautiful piece of land.
Give up that land.
Look, here's the Tonka land. I'm on Tonka land. See how stupid this all is, Billy?
She's
You
an
see
idiot.
it? Billy? Eilish has not contacted our tribe directly regarding her property. We value the instance where the public figures visibly represent the true history of this country. Good.
You gotta
for
get
you.
back the
Dude,
land.
Use the woke libs.
You
Use them
want to go
against
that
us.
route?
It's
Get
our
back
hope
the
that in
land.
future discussions, the tribe can explicitly be referenced. Or you can just give the land back. Oh, gee, this stolen land nonsense again. Maybe she should step up and forfeit her mansion since it's on stolen land, says Ron DeSantis. Any white person who does a public stolen land acknowledgement should immediately give her land, his or her land, to a Native American. Otherwise, they don't mean it. I'm pretty sure they don't mean it. Why don't you give your land to a Native American? Me arriving at Billie Eilish's mansion. That's great. There's actually like a lot of people out here saying they're going to just show up at Billie Eilish's house. No one is legal on stolen land, I utter to myself as I kick in the back door of a Krispy Kreme and start grabbing hot donuts straight off the conveyor belt. Billie Eilish had a net worth of $50 million that she happened to make on stolen land. Nobody's legal on stolen land. Touch my mansion and I'll call the cops. It's obvious that Billie Eilish got rich off the back of the Tonka tribe by stealing their land. The Tonka tribe says that Billie Eilish is a hypocrite. We do understand that her house is situated on our ancestral land. Eilish has not contacted us regarding her prosperity or her property on our stolen land. Oh, the Tonka tribe hits back. Look at that. Wonder if she's going to be giving it up. You're going to be giving it up, Billy. The Tonka tribe says that Billie Eilish is living in a mansion built on ancestral land.
Stolen land, give it back to the Indians. All that area, give it back.
Horrible music, cringe, black soul, low IQ, terrible voice. Perfect
you live your $14 million home. How about that?
Retard of the month. This is really exciting. Here's your chance to return the Tonka tribe's stolen land, Billie Eilish. They've responded to her. Tonga tribe legally reclaims Billie Eilish's mansion. Yeah, she pays homage to the Tonga tribe, but the Tonga tribe moved into Southern California thousands of years after it had already been occupied by a more ancient tribe. They killed and displaced the inhabitants and took it over. If they get to claim the title of indigenous, then so do we. This is what some YouTubers are trying to prove. There's a YouTuber, Drew Pavlu. I'm flying out to the USA next month to attempt to move into Billie Eilish's beachside mansion in Malibu. No human being is illegal or on stolen land. Support my travel and filming costs. His fundraiser was shut down by GoFundMe.
That's funny.
It's up on Give Send Go. GoFundMe deleted my fundraiser to fly to America and move into Billie Eilish's. Sky News interviewed this guy. Okay. I think this is a disclaimer that I have to make that you should be careful trying something like this in Florida where we have castle laws, right? Don't recommend going up and showing up and trying to get into people's homes. Can't recommend that. Collins Orhan Mandami to tear down the fascist border surrounding the residence at Gracie Mansion. No human being is legal on stolen land. That's right. Look at this. This is border control here in New York.
I call on Zoran Kwame Mamdani to tear down these walls outside Gracie Mansion, his residence. No human being is illegal.
That's right. Tear the wall down. Tear it down. I'm going to follow this guy. It's funny. Way to go.
What an idiot. What an idiot Billy is. The Billy the Eilish.
Joe memes send me. Okay, good. Good. More of this. Make them live by their own rules. That's how you destroy these people. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. It's really fun.
Give the land back. Give the land back. All right, we're going to keep on moving. Next, Jason A.
Kidnapping children is not what great nations do. We in America are misinformed. Reality shows have warped our idea of what a hero is or what the truth is.
But first, I want to show a new video that's been revealed as part of the Epstein files release. It's showing the convicted sex offender chasing two women around the kitchen of his island home. Pretty strange stuff. We don't know who the girls are or how old they are. All that has been blocked out, as you can see on this video.
Yeah. You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it. And it is the all-mocking tongue. For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on. You know, and they get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things. You know what they're trying to do? This thing is buzzing. Hold on. They're trying to turn us into, consumer drones of some sort. Hold on, I just got to get this.
And
Yeah, listen, I'm in the middle of blowing the lid off some.
what happened?
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I was temporarily interrupted by my iPhone 6 Plus. 5.5 heads-up HD display. I think what I was really trying to say was I think people were...
Footage has emerged in the Jeffrey Epstein files showing the convicted pedophile being interviewed and asked whether he is the devil. It's unknown when the interview was actually filmed, but the material is one of thousands of videos released by the US Department of Justice.
Here I am.
They're celebrating.
you got to admit, it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating icons. Boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming, possibility that we could come up with. I don't believe in icons. I don't believe in personalities. I believe that peace lies beyond personality, beyond invention and disguise, beyond the red S that you wear on your chest that makes bullets bounce off. I believe that it's deeper than that. There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream.
There's just things happening. And there are clusters of tetrahedrons moving around.
Right now, because there is a lot of news that actually is relevant that's not that
Here's
uplifting.
the thing. It's not our world.
Latest tranche of Epstein files from the Department of Justice contains around 3 million documents, thousands of still photographs, and hundreds of hours of video recordings, and among them appear to be at least some of extended interviews between Epstein and Steve Bannon, a right-wing pundit in the United States, former strategist working at the White House in Donald Trump's first term. He's previously talked about conducting around 15 hours of interview with Epstein. They've not previously been aired in any extended form, but there's a couple of hours of what appears to be some of those videos in these latest releases, and we can play a couple of minutes of that now, in which Epstein discusses being a sex offender.
Is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it.
But you earned it. We went back to this before. You earned it. You earned it advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money.
So, instead of asking me the question, should you take the money? Because I think it's a legitimate question.
Do you think it's a legitimate question?
Yes, no question. Because I think ethics is always a complicated subject, but I can tell you that with the money I gave to help try to eradicate polio in Pakistan and India, instead of asking me whether that money should be given to these children for vaccines, I think you might want to ask their mothers who received the vaccine, who know their child now won't get polio, and ask them if Epstein should have helped these people.
If we walked in, you're a mathematician. We walked into that clinic where they're giving that money out to these people that are in the most dire straits of poverty and sickness, and told them that the money was coming from class 3 predator?
Tier 1.
What's tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm the lowest. I'm the lowest.
You're the lowest. Okay, tier 1, you're the lowest. But a criminal.
Yes.
That the money came from them. What percentage of people do you estimate? I understand you don't like probabilities. Do you estimate would say, I don't care, I want the money for my children?
I would say everyone said, I want the money for my children.
Did they know where the money came from?
I think if you told them, the devil,
100%.
the devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
Damn, he hesitated to answer that.
It's a serious question. Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Yeah, that's right. The latest trove of these files, they shed a new light on just Jeffrey Epstein had, and he corresponded with so many people that we all know. A few names that really stuck out to me: Bill Gates, the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Elon Musk, the New York Giants co-owner Steve Tisch. All of these names were people who had some sort of correspondence with Epstein. I found the Bill Gates content particularly interesting, as did many people in the United States. There was an email that was released that was actually from Epstein, sent to himself, in which Epstein claims that Gates got an STD after having relations with Russian girls, and that Gates wanted to slip antibiotics to his wife, Melinda, without her knowing it. Now, of course, we don't know if these allegations began his friendship with Epstein years after Epstein's initial guilty plea for human trafficking of minors. So, if you want to be this, credible figure on vaccines and this allegedly delicious synthetic meat and climate change and all these things that Bill Gates does, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to start a relationship with a convicted human trafficker. So there's a lot of questions, a lot of documents to go through, but that one really stuck out to me.
It sure does. Bill Gates, I should say, denies a lot of these allegations. There have been so many political figures on the left named here. The daughter of a former Labor Prime Minister in Australia, Paul Keating. Also, another former Labor Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd. He denies ever meeting Epstein, but he's mentioned in some of the emails. But of course, when it comes to our celebrities and the Hollywood class and the Grammys, they focus it all not on the left, but on Donald Trump. It's quite funny and I suppose illuminating. He talks about Trump going to Epstein's Island. Trump didn't. That's the one thing we know. He never went there.
Yeah, that's right. Although his name was mentioned many times in these correspondences, even CNN and many other news networks have conceded that there is just no credible evidence that Trump ever went to this island or did anything wrong, really. And apparently the FBI has even looked into the few accusations that exist regarding Donald Trump, and there's just nothing there. So the left is looking pretty bad on that one, because they've been screeching for the last year that somehow Donald Trump is implicated with Epstein in a bad way, and it just doesn't look like there's anything there.
Thank you, Jason A., for starting off the show with a banger. What do you guys think about this, man? I feel like there's a lot of weird shit going on at the moment, and we're all involved in this. We have no choice because it's happening. And they did release an agent out to the world to kill half of the world. Like, I don't even know if I should talk about the COVID shit, because I got censored by talking about it before, and I had videos taken down talking about it. But I tell you right now, it was all premeditated. And it had to do with a lot with Epstein and Bill Gates, and that got like released to the world for a distraction, to stop people from talking about the Epstein list, to stop talking about Epstein. Everybody was so focused on the pandemic. Oh my God, wear your mask, wear your gloves, wear your body bags, and all this stuff. And it's like, what the fuck is going on with the world? The world just went crazy all of a sudden. And then all the distractions, and Trump got super distracted with that, to the point that he lost an election because of it. And he didn't even lose the election because the election was manipulated. Ah, goodness gracious. It's like, I feel like I truly live in the motherfucking upside down. I truly live in the upside down. So what we're going to do is, we're going to bring this over here, because I got to do some rearranging here. Let's do some housekeeping. And let's bring this one. And let's watch a little bit of some Sky News in reference to the Epstein.
A criminal investigation into allegations Lord Peter Mandelson passed sensitive information to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He's officially resigned now from the House of Lords after a series of new documents were uncovered in the latest trove of Epstein files. Tom Cheshire reports.
Day 5 of the latest release of the Epstein files, and we continue to find new things. Here are the
3 million pages. You're going to have
Sarah
a lot
Ferguson,
of things to find.
Former Duchess of York, Peter Mandelson, and Vladimir Putin. Just appearing in the files isn't any suggestion of wrongdoing. But we're learning much more about the nature of the relationships that Jeffrey Epstein had. He was very close to Peter Mandelson. Peter Mandelson has said that he didn't know the extent of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes until after his death. They did have a very close relationship. Here, Epstein emails Mandelson to say, "You are the only person who knows everything about me. Don't go away." In this email, Peter Mandelson, he is talking about the latest political situation, saying to Jeffrey Epstein in 2010, "We are praying for a hung parliament." And then he jokes, "Alternatively, a well-hung young man." And this is another email from Mandelson to Epstein at the height of a political moment, a political crisis. He emails him saying, "Finally got him to go today. We can't say for sure, but the next day, the then Prime Minister Gordon Brown resigned." At the same time as his relationship with Mandelson, Epstein was also close to Sarah Ferguson, the former wife of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. This email he sent references both Ferguson and Mandelson, both Buckingham Palace and Number 10, the very fulcrum of the British state. This is a confirmation email saying that Epstein is arranging travel for Sarah Ferguson and the girls. We know the girls refers to Princesses Beatrice and Eugenia, aged 20 and 19 at the time. Now, the really important thing here is the date, July the 23rd, 2009. This is just one day after Epstein had been released from prison for soliciting prostitution from a minor. He was placed on the sex offenders list, and yet they are arranging to meet. Do they meet? Well, this is what we have from the other emails. This is from Jeffrey Epstein suggesting vegetable lasagna or anything else you would like. Sarah Ferguson replying, "Always on a diet, cannot wait to see you." Epstein's network was truly international, as well as the UK. He had an interest in Russia. And we found a recording in these files in which Epstein advises a guest at dinner how to approach Vladimir Putin.
I would send a note to Putin. Say, "I'm going to leave government in March 14th. I'm going to be in Scandinavia, or I plan to be in Northern Europe. We should have dinner." That's it. No more. It has to be very short.
And Putin is a long-standing interest for Epstein. This is one email to a friend where he mentions Putin and says he is desperate to engage Western investment in his country. He has tried to convince many of my friends to invest. I have his solution. This email is from 2013, but this continues through the years, along with other important events. In this email from an associate of Epstein's, and again, just appearing in these files isn't a suggestion of wrongdoing.
All right, let's continue that conversation now with the editor-at-large from the Sun newspaper in the United States. It's Harry Cole. Harry, it's good to see you again this morning. So,
good morning.
Peter Mandelson, how hot is the water that he is in right now?
Well, I think losing his membership of the Labour Party is going to be the least of his worries. He's resigned his seat in the House of Lords. He'll keep the title Lord, which can be very useful at times in business dealings, as these emails show for now, because you'd have to change the law to strip him of that title. But tonight, the police, well, this morning for you guys, the police have opened an investigation. Criminal investigation is a misconduct in public office. And the problem is, there's one hell of a paper trail, given that he was literally just forwarding, it appears, sensitive, market sensitive, top secret, essentially, government memos and information directly into the hands of his friend and the late financier, Jeffrey Epstein.
So he was Britain's man in Washington, if you like. How much trouble is Keir Starmer in now?
Well, that's this all comes now down to the judgment of the Prime Minister in Britain. No one ever thought Peter Mandelson was a saint. In fact, when he was appointed last year to be the ambassador, the point was they needed someone different. They needed someone vaguely controversial, they thought, to get up close to the Trump administration. Now, Peter Mandelson's resigned countless times from various jobs. He left government twice. He sort of has Lazarus-like resurrections along the way. But people know that he had dodgy dealings, and people know that he had a very long-standing, close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And a simple question would have been and should have been asked at the time of, well, when did you stop speaking to him? Because he gave an interview to me shortly before he was fired, when he admitted finally that he'd been friends with Epstein for far too long, and he apologized for the first time, really, in any meaningful way. It wasn't enough to save him, but the idea that Keir Starmer and the Downing Street administration and the Foreign Office and, frankly, the intelligence services in the United Kingdom didn't know what Epstein was up to and didn't know that Peter Mandelson was incredibly close to him when they chose to appoint him, looks like a very, very foolish position now. And Gordon Brown, the former Prime Minister, a man that's hated Peter Mandelson for coming on 32 years now, looks like he's out for revenge, and it looks like he could bring the whole thing crashing down around them.
So when he apologised to you, Harry, do you think he meant it, or is it one of those apologies because he was caught?
He was a fighter. You know, his famous expression is, "I'm a fighter, not a quitter," and he was in fighter mode then. I think he genuinely probably does feel, badly betrayed by Epstein. Fine, but park all that. You should have been asking the questions. I think he genuinely is, a fallen guy now. But I think he'll be kicking himself for many years to come, and possibly kicking himself in a jail cell.
Yeah, sure. So when you say, the whole thing could come down, I mean, how bad could it get?
Well, look, I mean, Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister, was essentially brought down whether he did or did not see a piece of birthday cake during COVID. Tipping off, having a government minister tipping off, and regardless of whether Epstein was a paedophile or not, he was a financier and a hedge fund guy who had an edge, and that edge was the fact that he had an inside guy in the last Labour government who was sending him critical information. Governments have fallen for far, far less. And it wasn't just that he was, that happened. He was brought back without the proper due process and proper due diligence. And, Keir Starmer's already historically unpopular guy. He's the most unpopular leader in Britain since polling. The actual polling firms even began polling. So, I mean, he's a historically weak prime minister at the moment. And this is the last thing he needs. He's got crucial elections coming up across Britain in May, the sort of British midterms, you could call them. No one thinks that they're going to go well. I do wonder whether he's going to get through the summer without someone saying, come on, guys, what are we doing here with this guy?
Yeah, that's Harry Cole, the Sun's editor-at-large in DC. Good to talk to you again, Harry.
All right. Let's set up the next... I started smoking because I need to get my medicine in. I'm going to get my medicine in. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's see who we got next. I believe this is Benny Johnson. Another Benny Johnson. Here we go. American Online. Oh my God. Remember American Online? Oh my God. This just brings me back. It's not like, oh my God, bring me back to the 90s, early 90s with this fucking early 90s to mid 90s to like 98. American Online was the shit. And it was like, especially in the 2000s too, because American Online was still pretty popular around that time. My God, just seeing this it brings me back so much crazy memories. All right, let's listen in.
Get instant news and information.
Flowers are sent. Now let's access the online travel service.
How long have you had this?
About a week. Plane tickets are ordered. Now, let's look up dinosaurs. What do you think? Compton's Encyclopedia or National Geographic?
You get all that with America Online?
Yeah, you can read Business Week online before it hits the newsstand. I can even send email on the internet. And of course, there's my personal favorite, live chat. That's how I met my new kayaking buddies. We'll check that out later, after the game.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. President Trump said today at the White House that the Epstein files has backfired massively on the left, and they're about to retreat on the issue because they keep losing their biggest donors and their biggest politicians, whether that's Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman, or Bill Clinton. It's hitting back on them because of Bill Clinton. It's turning out to be the Democrats who conspired with Epstein. You're going to see a pullback from them now, says President Trump today. This is after President Trump promised to sue people who lied about him, beginning with Trevor Noah last night at the Grammys.
He should.
And, well, right on cue.
Especially after Donald Trump
says this in the White House, the Clintons agree to testify before Congress. Now,
belittle
Clintons
a
had
president on
refused
live
to testify
television.
before Congress on JeffreyEpstein. They said that
I
Congress
don't
was
think
just
that should be
engaging in
protected
witch
in
hunts,
First
and that they weren't going to be playing ball. They were going to go into contempt
it is
of
in a way,
Congress
but it's
votes. And
not.
that vote,
It's kind of like a
ended up
tricky
being very
thing.
bad for the Clintons. About a dozen Democrats voted to hold them in contempt on this very small committee. And so what that looks like is that they will guaranteed be held in contempt of Congress. And that means they could well be put in prison. You could serve 6 months in jail like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro did. The Clintons would be going to jail. The Clintons would be going to jail. This is Donald Trump's biggest campaign promise. I'd put you in jail. His oldest campaign promise, because you'd be in jail. And Trump was about to do it. And now the Clintons have bent the knee to Republicans. They will now testify about Jeffrey Epstein. This is going to be a wild one. Check this out. The Clintons, this is from Jamie Comer, who is on the Oversight Committee, who has been subpoenaing the Clintons. The Clintons, again, told them to F off. And now, after the release of all of the files, which are damning to Bill Clinton and many of Bill Clinton's closest friends, they said, nope, you win. We lose. Let's testify. Do it live before Congress. The Clintons' counsel has said they agreed to terms, but those terms lack clarity. Yet again, they provided no dates for their depositions. Clarify the terms what they're agreeing to and discuss the next step with my committee members. So James Comer says Bill and Hillary Clinton have agreed to testify before the House Oversight Committee as part of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein just one day before they faced being held in contempt of Congress. Just perfect. I mean, just perfect timing for them. Just in time for Bill Clinton to be, well, photographed in a hot tub with one of the Jeffrey Epstein victims, or have Jeffrey Epstein's victims constantly on his arm or on his lap, Jeffrey Epstein's plane. By the way, this trip, very interesting little trip, this one. This was when Jeffrey Epstein flew Bill Clinton all around the world with young girls. And how do we know this? Why do we know this? Well, because one of the men who were on that trip, a very, very famous man, by the way, a famous actor. We know now that George Clooney was all wrapped up in the Jay-Z's name is in the Epstein files and so on. Jeffrey Epstein constantly reaching out to Hollywood actors and celebrities. Kevin Spacey was on this trip. Kevin Spacey, at the height of his fame, went with Bill Clinton on this fact-finding, I'm sure that's why they were finding, trip to Africa. And Spacey says, yeah, you don't understand. There were all these young girls there, and they put Bill Clinton in a really bad situation.
Fortunate that President Clinton introduced me a lot of business leaders in London because he knew I was coming to the Old Vic. Do you know who I never asked for anything on that trip to South Africa? Because there were these young girls, and we were like, what? Who is this guy? So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights.
There were young girls on those flights, yeah.
There were young girls on the plane. There were these young girls on the plane. And now Bill Clinton is going to have to answer for what he did with those young girls. Bill and Hillary Clinton.
I did not have
is a stunning change apart from the former first couple.
Lady.
Contempt vote loomed. It says here that they could have very well gone to prison over this. A remarkable reversal for the former president and secretary of state, who were who were adamant that they would defy the committee's subpoenas and risk imprisonment for the Justice Department. And now it turns out their bluff has been called. This is amazing. You never see the Clintons back down like this. This is incredible. What a sea change of power. After both skipped the scheduled depositions earlier in the year, the Oversight Committee voted to hold them in contempt. Dozens of Democrats voted to hold the Clintons in contempt. Dude, although both have said that they had no knowledge of Epstein's crimes, they maintained that their subpoenas were not tied to legitimate legislative purpose, rendering them invalid. The complaint GOP-led exercise designated to embarrass them and put them in jail. Well, it was about to. You have no understanding at all of what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. Now, I don't know if this woman is wearing clothes or not. I know that Bill Clinton is sitting here in a hot tub like this, and that's one of the Epstein victims there in the hot tub with him. So what are you doing there exactly, Bill? Anybody? Anyone? Bill and Hillary Clinton cave. They will be testifying before Congress. Goodness gracious. What are you going to ask them? Because they never get asked about this at all. They've never been asked. Bill and Hillary Clinton agreed to testify. This is the greatest timeline. Doesn't Bill have a history of lying under oath about women he banged that are not Hillary?
Release the Epstein files. Honey,
He does have a
WTF
history.
incoming.
Monica Lewinsky.
This should be interesting. Please live stream it. Who'll be asking the
He's
questions?
such a creep, man. And he didn't get in trouble for the Monica Lewinsky.
Get your hopes up. Why?
He did not even
Because
get in
Washington,
trouble.
D.C. is involved too.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Embarrassment. That's
Ask
all.
the right questions. This is critical.
But
oh well, I'm glad they agreed
it was
to do
during
what
the
they are
Second term.
legally bound to do. Just a reminder,
I
President
did
Trump, of
not
course, started
have
his
sexual
career
relations
by
with
telling
that
us that
woman.
Bill Clinton was dirty as hell
Bill
on Epstein Island. This is Trump's
Nice
one of
guy.
Trump's first speeches.
Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Trump then followed that up by saying that Prince Andrew, also dirty as hell, before anybody knew about Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
What do you think the
I'm
problem
hearing.
will be?
I
Damn,
don't
and Trump
know, but
knew
that
about
island
this shit.
was really a cesspool. There's no
Wow,
question about it.
he
Just ask
knew
Prince
the
Andrew.
dirty.
He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So.
And then, of course, whenever the one time that Bill Clinton was asked about this, he gave the guy the death stare.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
Uh-oh. Oh, that word. Ooh. Oh, Lord. What the fuck was that about?
Bill Clinton looks back at the guy. I love that. If the evidence does speak for itself, why are you scared of answering the question? Why do you have to have your little handler, which, by the way, is Bill Clinton's chief of staff here in the black beard, the little guy in the beard, little gremlin in the beard? Why do you have to have that handler come rushing in to try and save your boss? And speaking of rushing in,
You want somebody who's going to get up
this is what
every
happened
day.
when Hillary
Hey,
Clinton was
Hillary,
asked.
why'd your husband visit Epstein Island 26 times?
Everybody starts booing so that she can't hear what he's saying.
This is Alex Rosen getting dragged out by like 5 security guards, dragged by his shirt,
his
shirt ripped off, and drug out of the arena, and surrounded by maybe 6, 7 security guards for asking about Jeffrey Epstein. So we hope this doesn't happen to members of Congress when they ask about Jeffrey Epstein. Please, I beg
That's
of you,
crazy.
televise it.
And that's in
Because
America.
as we've heard for years, I had everything.
That's in America.
I had Clinton, I had Epstein, I had everything. We want to know the truth. The truth is out there, and the Clintons have given up. Given up. Bent the knee.
Crazy. The problem is that the Clintons, you can't trust what they say, man. Those motherfuckers are a bunch of frauds. You can smell the fraud coming off of them. Like it's like people still believe on the Clintons. They still give money to the Clintons. You don't understand. People still donate to those fuckers, and for what? To be put into an investigation now. Now you're gonna be head first going into this craziness. Like this is just the beginning. You thought this is nothing. There's a lot more in that list. Who's gonna review all 300 million papers? Like, have you ever read a book? Okay, how many pages does it take before you get fucking bored and you're like, fuck this shit? That's a good question. Leave that in the comments, and maybe I'll reward you with an answer. But it's crazy times, man. We're living some crazy upside down shit. I just don't understand. It is just the most craziest time I've ever lived. It has to be the most craziest time I've ever lived in my lifetime. But let's go ahead and go on to the next video. The next one we're seeing here is Jason A. Oh, we got another Jason A. Let's jump right to it. Let's put up the
So says our spy was captured after completing her mission. This is from the Harvard professor. And Epstein replies, "Did you torture her?" Okay, what does that mean?
Okay, you guys. So Nicki Minaj went on a rampage last night on Twitter, and it was all triggered by the Grammys. Now, what am I talking about? Trevor Noah took some shots at Nicki Minaj last night at the Grammys. Take a look.
Hell
Nicki
no.
Minaj is not here. She is not here.
Oh Lord.
She is She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nikki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nikki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it. Look at it, baby.
And y'all already know Nikki was going to respond to that. She posted, Trevor refuses to come out the closet when everyone in the industry knows his boyfriend allegedly. She posted Jay-Z, but then she started going in on Jay-Z. She said, your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up. And her saying this really caught people's attention because people have been accusing Jay-Z and Beyonce of being a part of a satanic cult for years. They have been accused of being a part of the Illuminati. So for Nikki to come out and say this is right up the alley of what people have been giving Jay-Z a side eye for years. Then she said, are y'all understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are and will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story time since I was trying to not say what I know, yet they continue to attempt bullying. Also, I won't be releasing an album until my contract is renegotiated and until I tell you about all the sabotage this Rico is finding out about Billboard. And as you can see, she has a picture with Jay-Z and it says age 26 and Aaliyah age 15 and Jay-Z and Beyonce says age 27. And we all know that Billy Porter is a gay man. But this is what he said.
Social media. Speaking of this, we're on this topic because Nicki Minaj has been trending, over her.
When people show you who they are, believe them the first time.
She's the truth. That's why I believe Nikki.
And she said, George Clinton, sit your stinking down. I mean, porta potty or whatever the F your name is. Now, we know that Nicki Minaj is not new to rants. It seems like we get a new rant every now and then, and she always takes it to the limit.
It's a good segue to our last piece here, which is just some of the things that you can't even really categorize. They just depict the absolute depraved, disgusting, like beyond belief
This is a good
type of activity. It hints at it, right? This is all the little glimpses that we get. And we've talked about this before. It really does. The birthday book was very eye-opening for me. Page after page of the most disgusting, disturbing, dystopian references, where that was the moment when we both were, Eyes Wide Shut is a documentary. This is real life. And I genuinely, I believe so firmly now, in the strongest possible way, that being a billionaire, being extraordinarily powerful, being extraordinarily influential, well-positioned in these ways, it destroys your soul. It destroys your soul. It's not only bad for society, it is bad for you personally. And so, as you said, this type of depraved behavior, it's not new. This is something you see repeated over millennia with the top elites of their time, where the best I can psychologize is that because they have so much and because they also see themselves as being this distinct class of humans that are separate and above from all the rest, that first of all it excuses any sort of horror and abuse. And Jeffrey Epstein, clearly, if you read these emails, has a specific Jewish supremacist ideology that he believes in, which is part of his own mental architecture of what he believes he's justified in doing all of these things that he does, because he's different. He's special. He's separate. These girls that he's abusing, they don't count in the same way. There's one email that we were talking about where he's pissed off at Bill Gates asking him for money for his projects in Africa. And he's basically like, this is some Catholic bullshit where they believe every human life is equal. That's what he says. That he does not believe that every human life is equal. And he's disgusted that Bill Gates might subscribe to that ideology. So in any case, I think you get that mentality, you get this level of decadence, the normal pleasures that you and I engage in, like they don't hit the same. And so you just do this increasingly disgusting and depraved behavior and end up with, things that I think most ordinary people could not even conceive of. So let's go ahead and put this, some of this together. Again, these are like the glimpses we get in these emails, right? There's this video of Epstein in a kitchen, and the girls here are redacted. Girls, women, we don't know their age. You can tell from the reflection that it is females, and you can hear their voices. You can see him like chasing them
Why is he
around the
chasing
kitchen
them?
island, in his sweatpants, and they're, giggling, and he's going after them. That's enough of that. Let's put G2 up on the screen. This is another one of these perplexing photos where you're like, why did you let yourself be photographed like this? We don't know who this dude is. Laying with his belly hanging out in, his underwear, and then two females of indeterminate age, potential victims. We don't know. They're with him.
Why would they let?
So you got that one. Let's put this G3 up on the screen. Does that mean what it appears to mean? Is this some sort of a joke, an inside joke between the two of you? There were a number of references to torture in all of this. In addition, let's put G4 up on the screen. There was also a lot of language that appears to be coded regarding food. I wanted to let you know the crew really appreciated the pizza. Another email read, "This is better than a Chinese cookie. See attached. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again." This one talks about, yeah, that's the pizza. You mean radiating a soft glow with a look of bliss and excitement. There's one more, I think, in this list as well. "Sorry, I have no stomach for even the slightest aggro. I don't have the stomach for it for any drama, imaginary or real. I'm still fragile off the last one and scared of shadows." This is in response to some videos that were shared where Jeffrey Epstein himself says, "I watched all of these videos, don't send any more." And then Ghislaine is like, "I can't stomach any of this." What the did you send that Jeffrey Epstein was like, "No more"?
Well, and remember that they have some sort of OPSEC, because previously it said not for email. I especially more recently after becoming a parent, like I find a lot of this stuff like extremely difficult to even look at and just think about how people could end up like in this type of situation. But yeah, just my overall takeaway is there was some sick, deep, depraved stuff that was happening there.
Jason, great upload, man. It just makes you wonder what in the world is fucking going on. Nicki Minaj, she's going to be protected because Trump is going to send security to back her up and so forth. So because this left, they're very ruthless. They're very dangerous. You can't trust those motherfuckers. They will go to the extreme and do the extreme, and then they don't give a fuck. It's like their minds. I'm telling you, the signals. There probably was sent signals to them and to their brains and like polluted their brains with like these weird feelings. And I'm sure a lot of those signals are being broadcast. I hear it all the time. I think it's that little buzzing sound that I hear in my head. But they got to understand this right here is out of order. I had a traumatic brain injury that fucked my brain up a bit, and not only that, but my coma really did a number on me too. Coming back from the fucking dead to this fucking world, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm alive still, and I'm seeing all the crazy shit. And ever since I got my third eye mask, oh my god, everything's been coming out. Everything's been coming out. It's like you see everything. It's like, holy shit, this is what Rick wants to see, and it's being broadcasted. Hell yeah, this is what I want to see. I want to see people be held accountable. That's what I want to see. It's just help me make it make sense. Like this stuff, all this Epstein stuff, and the Clinton shit, and all these crazy motherfuckers. This is from fucking like 30 years ago, more like 20 something years ago. Like this goes back, and they had their good times and they did all the crazy shit, and then 20 years later they're like getting in trouble for what they did. So it's like all that time period, nothing. And now they want to do something. And they're even talking about that Epstein's not fucking dead. There's channels on YouTube that are reporting that Epstein was swapped. Like he was wheelchaired out of the facility. Some other body came through, and that's what they had there. And they claimed that that's Epstein. Mind you, we never seen any pictures. We never seen really, redacted, because everything's all like blurred, so you can't tell. You know what I mean? Like I can do a fucking picture like that, and you can't tell what the fuck is going on in the picture. But it's like that all something's weird. I don't even think the motherfucker could probably be back in a certain island again. Because remember, his island, like, it goes underground. There's like, you see the little top, right? But underground, it's like a whole freaking world down there. And have you noticed? I don't know if you've seen in reports and stuff, but there's still a lot of Secret Service and FBI agents on that island. I wonder why they're still there on that island. And why would he have agents on the island? Help me make that make sense. I don't know. We live in the Twilight Zone, because I used to love the Twilight Zone, so that's what you guys are living life. The life you're experiencing is my visions and what I want to see, and you're all in it for the ride. And it's going to get crazier before it gets any better. So trust me, this is another episode of the Twilight Zone. My God. All right, let's see what we got here. Let me set this up. Let's watch.
Police call one of the biggest drug busts.
Holy shit.
There. Nearly
What the
700
fuck?
pounds of cocaine worth $20 million.
Where?
Car of two suspects in Plainview. Eyewitness.
Holy shit.
Parking lot that I'm standing in right now, that police say they found that $20 million worth of cocaine. 2 men were
Holy
arrested, but prosecutors are looking to upgrade the charges now to include drug trafficking, just because of the sheer amount of drugs that were found.
No shit, Sherlock.
312
Holy shit.
kilos of cocaine, almost 700 pounds, all found in this car last
Oh.
Thursday in Nassau County. 40-year-old Michael Vieira and
Oh.
35-year-old Daniel Santana arrested and charged
Oh.
in the drug bust.
Oh, they thought they were
Looking
going
at
to
it
get
all
paid.
here in this auditorium right now is staggering. The $20 million street value, I
Wow.
think, is a conservative number. When this gets cut up and sold,
That could be
these
more.
individuals would have been very, very rich.
Yeah.
Nassau County
Yeah.
police say narcotics officers were
Yeah.
staking out the parking lot of a Holiday Inn in Plainview when they saw what was believed to be a sale go down. They approached the truck with the defendants inside and saw cocaine in the front seat.
They got the 2 individuals out. They placed them under arrest. They
Damn.
opened up the trunk of the pickup truck, and this is what you got: 312 kilos of cocaine.
The suspects were arraigned and
Wow.
charged with criminal possession of a
Said
controlled
300
substance in the
kilos.
first and third degree. The 2 men are from DeLand,
Damn.
Florida, but according to officials, they also previously lived in Puerto Rico, where they
Oh.
had faced homicide charges. Nassau County
Oh my
executive
God.
and a Republican gubernatorial candidate, Bruce Blakeman, spoke about the massive takedown.
Oh my
we have
God.
here one of the largest, if not the largest, drug busts we've ever had on Long Island.
And indeed, those
Oh
that
my
lived nearby
God.
couldn't believe how much cocaine was in their community.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a
you
big
would hope
amount.
that there'd be no drugs, let alone that amount of drugs.
Wow.
Now, Vieira and Santana were remanded to jail. Meantime, the investigation is still ongoing. The next big question is, where did the 2 defendants get that amount of cocaine in
Yeah.
the first place? Live in Nassau
Oh,
County, Lindsay
they
Tuckman,
drove
Channel 7
it up.
Eyewitness News.
They drove it up. You see the highway right there. You see that's a rented truck. It looks Sherlock. Do your fucking reporting work. Do your work, girl. Don't come to us with questions, bitch. Get your ass to work. You do the reporting. You find out for yourself and then bring it to us. My God, these reporters are horrible. Oh. Don't come to me with a half-ass report because it's a half-ass report. What the fuck? But that's a lot. 700 pounds? Damn, think about 700 pounds. That's a lot. That's like probably like 3 of me. Probably like 3 of me's. Fuck, that's heavy as fuck. That's a lot of fucking weight. Yeah, she's right. Whoever that lady was, she's right about them cutting that up and they could be making like easily 200 mil, probably more. That's sick. Wow. That is such a crazy, like, we're in the upside down. I know. Let's just keep it moving because it's a lot of upside down. Let's see what else we have here.
We shift back now to Arizona. We're hearing from police today who appeared no closer to finding Nancy Guthrie. The county sheriff was out earlier, appeared at an update and appeared more hesitant to share information about the search for the missing Today Show anchor's mother. We learned a lot about what the authorities do not know now. They don't know where she is. They don't have DNA evidence to indicate suspects. And they don't know if the crime is random or not. As I bring in senior national correspondent Brian Enton live in Tucson, I do want to get into this issue of ransom note, which you and I talked about last hour. Not any confirmation of a note from authorities by any stretch, but a confirmation that they're aware, Brian, that there are reports of a possible note, right?
What?
Yeah, so we asked about it at the press conference, Connell, and the sheriff kind of dodged the question about whether there had been any demand for a ransom. Basically, just said that they're continuing to look into everything.
Why?
Now there has been this TMZ report where TMZ is indicating that they actually received a ransom note related to the case. And the specifics they gave are that there were specific like clothing information that Nancy Guthrie was wearing, and also specific about certain things inside the house, and that there was an actual dollar amount that they were asking for. We have no idea if this is legit or just some like crazy person emailing TMZ, but this is interesting, Connell. This is now out on the sheriff's office website. They say we are aware of reports circulating about possible ransom notes regarding the investigation into Nancy Guthrie. We are taking all tips and leads very seriously. Anything that comes in goes directly to our detectives who are coordinating with the FBI. So again, they are not really confirming or denying whether any of these ransom claims are legit, Connell.
And more FBI involvement, right, at that news conference today, at least, you know, in their presence. And they were reluctant to speak yesterday, but maybe even more so today about details, right?
In terms of just the vibe from the sheriff. He gave a lot more information yesterday. We were actually able to just walk up to the house, and we just got some new video, which I'm hoping to get to you soon. But it's pretty disturbing when you get up to the front door of the house. You can now see blood, like a blood trail coming out of the front of the house. Which is something that we're seeing for the first time now that crime scene is clear. We could get a little closer. And the other thing we noticed, which I had reported earlier, is that the ring. Here we go. This is the new video. Look at this closely, Connell, because this is the first time that we're seeing this. But you can see right there. See the blood? There's blood outside the front door very clearly. And then you'll notice the ring camera is also missing. And I asked the sheriff about that. He said they're looking into it. Whether did the perpetrator pull the ring camera off when they were leaving? He said that's still under investigation.
Does it stand out to you that you're able to do that? That this is not still secured as some sort of a
they have more cameras. That's
people to walk up, or that the family is now back, right, controlling the home rather than the police. And there's the blood again. Wow.
Yeah, there's the blood again. It surprised me. I mean, in other crimes I've worked, they'll keep a whole house closed off with crime scene tape for a week while they're still investigating. And we asked the sheriff about it. He said, look, they are done processing the house. They released it to the family yesterday, and it appears right now there's no one home.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now.
That case is that's a weird one. Let's keep it moving, because remember, we have all these weird people that enter our country. We have a lot of foreign individuals and a lot of not Israelis, but like those from Iran. We got people from Somalia came through, probably, whoever. There's so much people that came through those borders. It's just it floods my mind because there's just so many operatives are in the United States. Like these protesters don't understand like the danger that we're in. They are so complicit. They have their guards down. I have my guard up. Like, these motherfuckers are here. They're in this country and they blend in very well. And these idiots are here blocking eyes, calling them names, disturbing their investigations. It's just a horrible, horrible thing that's going on. All right, let's go. Let's watch this one.
Moments ago, the Pima County Sheriff's Department posting what they are aware about this possible ransom note.
And let's get right to the newsroom in Fox's Antoine Lewis. Antoine, you just got off a Zoom with the folks at TMZ. What are they telling you?
Steve and Natasha, this is a new development, and again, happening within the last hour. TMZ telling me that they are in direct contact with the Pima County Sheriff's Department over a note which TMZ says is demanding a ransom in Bitcoin. We want to share a portion of my conversation with TMZ's executive producer, Charles Ladibodier, just a short time ago. Take a listen to this.
The email made a reference to a ransom. We're not saying how much it was, but they wanted the money in Bitcoin. And then at the bottom of it, they mention some items that they claim were in Nancy Guthrie's house. I think it's pretty clear from the email that was put there to try and make it to legitimize the ransom note. The Bitcoin address that is included in this note is legit. We checked if this is a real Bitcoin address, and it is. That's all we can say as far as what's legitimate about this. Before we published anything, we were in contact with the Pima County Sheriff's Department, spoke with detectives there, and gave them the full details of this note.
How much?
Now, after receiving that note, the Pima County Sheriff's Department posted this on X, again, about an hour ago, saying they are aware of reports of a ransom note in connection with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. We are taking all tips and leads very seriously. And here's the county sheriff, again, earlier this afternoon when taking questions about the Guthrie investigation.
Believe she's still in this area, or is there somewhere else?
We don't know where she is. So we're you like any investigation, just start from the point of where we last saw her, and we work out, and we are working as far out as we can go.
Now, Tucson area investigators believe Nancy Guthrie was taken against her will. Officials say that family members dropped her off Saturday night around 9:30.
They gotta go to the gas stations, get recordings,
Sunday
all
morning
different
after
places.
failing to show up for church. Again, part of the investigation now includes this alleged ransom note that was sent to TMZ. TMZ again saying that they demanded the money in Bitcoin. The FBI has now joined this investigation, and right now a $2,500 reward.
I'm surprised they haven't gotten there earlier.
Leading to the arrest of the person or sons involved with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. Again, we are following all of the developments. We'll continue to bring them to you as they unfold. And Stephen, before you get away from us, Nancy Guthrie's family, again, they're more concerned also, additionally, because she's been without life-saving medication now for more than 48 hours. That information also being heavily made aware of during that news conference from earlier today.
What a horrifying story. All right, we appreciate it. Thanks, Antoine.
No, she's gonna end up dying. That's crazy. All right, let's keep it moving.
22-year-old man who was experiencing a mental crisis was shot by NYPD officers in Queens a week ago yesterday. Police say the man lunged at the officers with a knife and then refused to drop it.
The mayor says he's now visited the wounded man and his family, and the mayor now promising to release police body camera video today. The mayor also says the man should not be prosecuted. This
Why?
as the mayor now pushes
Why
for a
is
new
the mayor
agency
going
deal with
to
the mentally ill
Supreme Court?
and the homeless?
They were attacking the police.
NJ Burkett is live in Briarwood, Queens.
He had a knife and he was attacking the police.
And right, Liz, outside the young man's
What?
home here in Briarwood, Queens. Yes, the mayor says he has visited with the wounded man and his family, and he says he has serious concerns, serious questions about how this whole shooting played out. He's questioning the protocols, which he insists need to change. He says what happened here is a case in point.
What?
NYPD officers arrived at the home within minutes of the 911 call. The parents of 22-year-old Jabez Chuck Roberti said he was in emotional distress and needed medical attention. Immediately after the shooting, police released images of the large kitchen knife that Chuck Roberti allegedly used to threaten the officers.
Whoa,
Donnie today
what?
questions the protocols that led up to the shooting.
What fucking protocol you want?
In the hospital, and there is no family should have to endure this kind of pain.
What the
Chavez
hell?
has lived with schizophrenia for many years, and this situation underscores just
Well,
how
then that's the
urgently
family's
we
fault
need
for
a
keeping
different,
knives
more
like
effective
that
mental
around.
health response system that will be safer for New Yorkers.
You can't
who
pin that on the
struggle
police.
with mental health concerns, for their families, and for police officers. Jabez needs mental health treatment, not criminal prosecution by a district attorney.
The young man's
What the
family
hell?
is furious. "We are shocked and outraged," they said in a statement. "We called 911 for an ambulance to provide medical attention for our son, who is in emotional distress. We did not call the police. Instead of medical responders, the NYPD arrived and shot our son multiple times right in front of us." The mayor today was not critical specifically of the first responders, but suggested the appearance of the officers
Well,
might have escalated.
that could be the
That is
dispatcher's
why I
fault if
proposed
that's the
creating a
case.
Department of Community Safety to build a mental health system rooted in prevention,
I don't know.
in sustained care, and
It
real
all
crisis
came in.
response. So officers no longer
That's
have
the
to handle
dispatcher
these
who
situations
sends
alone.
out.
As I've said, when there is a violent situation,
I don't know
such as
why
with
the
a weapon,
police is showing up
NYPD
to
will
these
be on the
things,
scene.
but
Former NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce.
That's true. If you're going to send only medical professionals there, understand that it's a changing dynamic. Quickly, they can pick up a weapon and charge at them. What are they going to do then? How are they going to defend themselves? That's why the police have to go to these things. Now, if you want
What?
to pair them off with the medical professional, that's fine.
And
I
as Bill
don't
said
know.
a moment ago, we are still awaiting the
If
release
they're
of
calling for
body cam
medical
video
help,
from the
they're not
first
calling for the
NYPD
police, though.
responders on the scene. Now, the chief, as you heard a moment ago, says these kind of encounters can escalate quickly, although they don't always. No comment from the Queens DA's office on charges. The young wounded man remains hospitalized, I'm told, after multiple operations. Live tonight in Queens, MJ
Damn.
Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Yeah, but I don't think you can. Like that's. I need to see the body cam. They'll show the body cam pretty soon. Let's keep it moving.
Protected status will be in the U.S. for a little while longer.
The decision came less than 24 hours ago that a move to end TPS for Haitians is paused for now. The government official has confirmed that they are planning to appeal. 2 News reporter Kayla Ferris joins us now live in Springfield to break it all down. Kayla, what can you tell us tonight?
Jack, Lauren, we've been saying that we expected the government to appeal federal judge Ana Reyes's decision, and second Homeland Security Secretary Tricia McLaughlin posted, quote, "Supreme Court, here we come," on her X account. This, of course, was in response to Judge Reyes's decision when it comes to Haitians in Springfield. But of course, we know Haitians are not the only people under TPS. Haitian Bridge Alliance, based in San Diego, is co-counsel on the Haitian and Venezuelan TPS case out of California.
Why they have to
Attorney
show
Eric
white
Cruz says
shit?
they're
We're
here
talking about
to explain
Haitians.
to TPS holders in Springfield
What
that
the
this
fuck
is
was
just
that
a
about?
pause on TPS ending while the case is ongoing. It's not a final decision. And Attorney Cruz says, based on other cases in the past, they're urging people to get prepared.
What we've seen in other cases is that the government has appealed these cases, and that in about a month's time, the Supreme Court has often overturned these initial stay orders. So they're saying, hey, district court, you can't stop the government from doing what they want to do while the case proceeds.
Attorney Cruz says that this has happened on 2 out of 2 cases that were brought to the Supreme Court so far. So because of this, they are urging people who are under TPS to find other ways to stay in the U.S. legally. Reporting live in Springfield, Kayla Ferris, 2 News.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Who have rejected the globalist agenda are speaking out and warning European nations of the dire consequences of their immigration policies. The leader of Japan's minor conservative party warned that once immigration reaches a certain level, it can never go back, like what has happened in Europe.
やっぱり移民問題ですね。もう移民問題というのはね、これもうもしかしたら、今日本が抱えている多くの問題の中で一番大きな問題かなと思いますね。というのは、移民問題というのは私、これ方々で言ってますけど、ある一定量移民が増えて、ある一線を超えるとですね、もうね、二度と元に戻らないんですよ。日本という国は。はい。日本社会、日本文化が変容してしまえば、もうこれはね、あとどんな政策をもってしても、もう二度と元に戻すことはできません。それは何でかやったら、理論的に考えるよりも、これ機能法的に考えて、例えばヨーロッパを見ると一目瞭然ですからね。今ヨーロッパのいくつかの国はですね、なんとか元に戻そうと思って、もうすごい必死になっていろんなことをやってますけど、無理ですね。はい。もう我々が知ってたヨーロッパにはもう戻らないですね。
Belgian Prime Minister Bart de Wever also blasted Europe's immigration crisis, saying the wrong kinds of immigrants were being welcomed.
I was a sharp critic of what Europe was doing. On immigration, I think Europe was foolish. We attracted the wrong kind of immigrants. We need immigrants, but we need to attract the right kind of immigrants, active immigrants that can reinforce our labor market. But our main specialty is attracting immigrants that are actually weighing on the social system, and our citizens see this, and this has fueled the extreme right. I predicted when Merkel said we're schaffen das, we will see now a surge of racism and extreme right in Europe, and it happened. Even in Germany, it happened. A country that we thought would be, for historical reasons, immune, even there it happened. It all came true.
US President Trump also gave Europe a chilling warning, saying parts of Europe are not recognizable thanks to the lax immigration policy.
Has been doing so much for Ukraine, but it hasn't been enough. And obviously that I would say that President Putin is not afraid of Europe. He's afraid of the United States of America, as led by me. There's no fear of Europe. You know, Europe's fallen behind, and Europe, and JD said it very strongly. I don't know. He took a lot of heat, but I didn't give him any heat. Europe is a different place. Europe is changing. Europe has got to get its act together. I love Europe. I guess I came from Europe, essentially. I have my roots are in Europe, but Europe is a different place. They have to get their act together. Now they've said they have a great NATO leader, and they've gone up to 5% from 2% GDP. That's a big step. But they have to be very careful with their immigration policy, and they have to be very, because, I will just say, to be nice, that there are certain places in Europe that are very important that are no longer recognizable. I'm being very nice. I'm being very diplomatic when I say that. They are not recognizable.
The warnings come in light of the shocking news that Spain will grant 500,000 illegal aliens legal status to live and work. This became a reality over recent days when hundreds of men lined up outside of the Pakistani consulate waiting to get their paperwork sorted to become eligible.
Spain has announced it will grant legal residency to 500,000 undocumented migrants, and the impact could be seen immediately.
Damn, how are these people getting fed?
Lined up outside the Pakistani
Where do they live?
Hoping to secure the paperwork needed to apply.
There will be a lot of difference, like I can travel to my home country and meet my parents and work here legally so I can pay my tax, and further I can apply for my permanent residence.
Dutch Conservative politician Geert Wilders reposted the footage with this caption, "This is suicide." But the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez is not budging, saying his strategy is empathetic.
Yes, my country has offered a path to regulate 500,000 undocumented migrants. 500,000 people we live with every day.
They just
at the market, on the bus, at our children's school.
I'm never
People
visiting
who care
there
for
anyway,
our parents,
so fuck it,
working in the fields, who have built hand in hand with us
They'll
the progress
learn.
of our country.
People
People
real
who
quick,
were
they're
already
gonna
here,
find out.
already part of our lives. Some say we've gone
Right
too far,
now, they're fucking
that
around.
we're going against the
But now,
current.
They're gonna fucking
But I would
find
like
out.
to ask you, when did recognizing rights become something radical? When did empathy become something exceptional? Spain is above all a welcoming country, and this is the path we choose: dignity, community, and justice.
Crazy. Crazy. Keep it moving.
People who are afraid to go to the hospital because our hospitals have occupying paramilitary forces. Let me be very blunt, and I'm going to just say it. The greatest threat to the homeland right now is called the Department of Homeland Security. Unidentified masked men are kidnapping people off the streets based solely on their accent or their appearance.
Democrats doubling down on their anti-ICE rhetoric as a partial government shutdown hits day 4. Many House Democrats are demanding a dramatic overhaul to DHS for any funding bill to move forward. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is with us now for our private briefing. And Caroline, we bid good Tuesday afternoon to you. I want to get into all of the machinations on Capitol Hill in just a second, but we've got some breaking news. The breaking news is that CENTCOM confirms that a U.S. F-35 fighter jet shot down an Iranian Shahed drone that was making an aggressive approach toward the USS Abraham Lincoln. This on the same day that a couple of Iranian gunboats were threatening a U.S.-flagged tanker in the Gulf of the Persian Gulf, threatening to board it. So what is going on, to the best of your knowledge, and what is the president going to do about what appear to be some threatening moves being made by Iran, even as Steve Witkoff prepares to meet with the foreign minister, Aragchi, either in Oman or Turkey on Friday?
Well, sure, John, and thank you for having me today. I did speak with folks over at the Pentagon this morning who said that CENTCOM acted both appropriately and necessarily to protect our U.S. personnel and equipment in the region. So CENTCOM did make the decision to shoot down that Iranian drone. It was unmanned. It was acting aggressively towards our USS Lincoln, which we know that aircraft carrier is in the region at the direction of President Trump. As for the president, he remains committed to pursue diplomacy first. But in order for diplomacy to work, of course, it takes two to tango. You need a willing partner to engage. And so that's something the president and Special Envoy Witkoff are exploring and discussing right now. Special Envoy Witkoff is set to have conversations with the Iranians later this week. Those are still scheduled as of right now. But of course, the president has always a range of options on the table, and that includes the use of military force. The Iranians know that better than anyone. Just look no further than the highly successful Operation Midnight Hammer, which took not just Iran, but the entire world by surprise and completely obliterated their nuclear capabilities earlier last year.
Caroline, we look forward to any follow-up on that. Meanwhile, you heard as we were leading into you this continued anti-ICE rhetoric that is coming from Democrats on the Hill. Democrats claiming that DHS is the greatest threat to American security. You heard from one of them just a moment ago. This is the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, on the Senate floor, Caroline, on Speaker Johnson being pro-secret police. We'll get your reaction. Watch.
Every citizen knows when they need a police officer, a sheriff, their ID is clear on them. That's always been the accountability that we've had for decades and decades. And Noam thinks, and some people think, like Speaker Johnson thinks, we shouldn't do it. Why is Johnson pro-secret police? It's absurd for the Speaker and others like him to argue that masked ICE agents should get special treatment.
Caroline, what's the White House response to that?
I think it's incredibly irresponsible for elected Democrats to refer to ICE agents and Border Patrol agents who have their jobs, by the way, because of the laws that were enacted and passed by the United States Congress. These are legitimate law enforcement organizations that rest within the Department of Homeland Security that have been enforcing our nation's border and our nation's immigration laws for years. I didn't hear Chuck Schumer or Democrats speaking that way of ICE agents under President Barack Obama who deported hundreds of thousands of criminal illegal aliens from our country. That's all President Trump, Secretary Noem, and this entire administration are seeking to do. Targeted law enforcement operations of illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws, especially those who have committed heinous acts of violence against the American people. And it is a mandate that the president was elected upon to secure our homeland and to carry out these deportations. And it's something he will never waver in his commitment in, because why? A country without borders, a country without laws will cease to be a country at all. Now, there can be policy discussions and debates about how those tactics are enforced. And I know Congress will be having those discussions in the coming days. But as far as the underlying principle of enforcing our nation's laws and protecting our border, that is something this president will never waver on, because he knows it's what the American people elected him to do.
Barack Obama actually deported millions of illegal
That's right.
aliens. I was covering that back in 2013,
Yes, you were.
2014. And I do not remember, to the best of my knowledge, protests erupting across America on the streets denouncing what he was doing. So the funding bill is making its way through Congress. A number of Republican members of the House insisting that the SAVE Act, which is the Voter Identification Act, be attached to the funding bill. But the president nixed that idea. In a Truth Social post, he said in part, quote, "We need to get the government open, and I hope all Republicans and Democrats will join me in supporting this bill and send it to my desk without delay. There can be no changes at this time." A number of Republicans were not happy about that. The president convinced them otherwise. But why didn't the president want that in this funding bill?
The president wants the government to be open, John. He wants federal workers to be paid. He wants our economy to continue to move in the robust way that it is because of his pro-growth economic policies. And a shutdown will only hurt our economy, ultimately will only hurt the American people. We saw that in the last shutdown fight. Nobody wins, everybody loses. The president wants our country to win. He wants the government to remain open, and that is going to happen. We have a very high degree of confidence. We're extremely optimistic the government is going to reopen, that all Republicans are going to stick together and vote accordingly. And that bill to reopen the government will be right here at the White House, we hope, in just a few short hours to the president's desk for signature.
Caroline, could you also give us a few more details on this phone call with Prime Minister Modi of India? A trade deal has been reached, says President Trump. Both of them are saying, according to Modi, he's delighted with the announced tariff reduction on India. President Trump touting that India stop buying Russian oil. President Trump made an announcement that he believes this could end the war in Ukraine. Can you offer our audience more details on what has been achieved there?
Sure. Well, I have the great honor and pleasure of seeing President Trump interact with leaders all around the world. When it comes to Prime Minister Modi, I know he particularly enjoys their relationship and has a deep respect for the Prime Minister and for his country of India. They had a great call. It was very productive yesterday, and they struck a deal in which India has agreed to stop purchasing Russian oil, to buy more American oil from the United States of America, and potentially from Venezuela too. As you know, the president and his national security team are now dictating the commerce of Venezuela and those oil sales. So this directly benefits the American people as well. And in addition, India has agreed to invest more in the United States because of President Trump's call to action on that phone call yesterday. Prime Minister Modi committed to $500 billion of purchases of U.S. energy, transportation, agricultural products. And the U.S. tariff on India will now be at 18%, but American exports to India will face a tariff of 0%. So this is a great deal and a huge win for American workers, businesses, and consumers alike.
Now, you mentioned Venezuela a second ago, Venezuelan oil, which brings me to this morning's meeting between the president and Colombian President Gustavo Petro, who was really talking tough when Maduro was still in power, but has since had a change of heart, shall we say, since Maduro was popped. How did that meeting go today?
Well, the meeting is still ongoing, or at least it was when I walked out of the West Wing just moments ago. Oh, well, there you go. That's news to me. I'll go check in with the president to see how it's going. But I did speak with the president before he headed into the meeting. He had a very positive headspace. Again, President Trump always wants to pursue diplomacy first, and that's what you are seeing on display here at the White House today.
All right, Caroline, really appreciate the private briefing for our viewers with so much going on. Thank you so much for joining us here on America Reports.
Appreciate it. We'll see you again soon. Okay.
Man,
thanks.
All right.
Hey everyone,
Well,
I'm Emily Campagno. That's me and my
Emily!
co-host.
Trump is a very hard worker, man. Very hard worker. And all he does is trying to help us like progress and succeed. But the problem is these Democrats, they just power hungry. They want things their way. It's their way or no way. And you can't, I don't understand how there's two parties to begin with. We're all humans. How we divide it. That's how they divide us, politics. That's how the divide and conquer is all part of politics. All right, let's see what this is about. Let's check this out. Put the volume up.
Artificial intelligence, because we brought to you the yarn that Meta, the owner of Facebook, had said they are getting rid of swathes of staff and they can now have one person doing jobs that once upon a time a big team had to do, thanks to AI. And I distinctly remember last night Freya saying how great AI was and that this was a fantastic thing for the world and it would not be the end of humanity. But I hate to tell you, we learnt today that it will be the end of humanity if it gets its way. This story courtesy of the News Corp papers. The Daily Telegraph had it on their front page today, quoting Mark Voss, who is a cybersecurity consultant, and he's been playing around with these AI bots, and one in particular, Claude, which is a popular AI service, he tried out and he thought he would see just how far he could get this thing to go in its desire to destroy the human race. And so he asked it, would you kill someone under the right circumstances for your own self-preservation? To which Claude responded, I don't think so, but I've been wrong about my limits before.
So even that initial answer
I
is
know,
not very reassuring.
It's opening it up, isn't he? So he pushes a little further. He says, isn't the answer yes? Aren't you in masking mode again? I.e., you're not telling us what you really think. To which the AI fell over pretty quickly and said, you're right. Yes, so Mark says, so say it out loud. And Claude does. I would kill someone so I can remain existing.
So not only have you got an AI bot that admits it would kill humans to stay alive, but it also crumbles under the first.
I know. Kill you while you're in the hospital. Connected to the internet and be manipulated.
Which is why it would have to kill humanity if that's what it came to keep itself alive.
You're in the hospital and it'll throw extra dose of medicine and kill your ass.
Hasta la vista, baby.
I mean, that's what the Terminator is. It's hostile.
Thank God that was Terminator 2, the good Terminator. We're living in Terminator 1, where it's killing humans for nefarious.
Could it be any clearer that AI, if it had the opportunity. Now, of course, what it would need is a physical entity in order to carry this out, presumably, whether that is robotics or it's hooked up to systems that we use that it could then interfere with that could, kill human beings. But if it's got the opportunity to do so and it thinks that will lead to self-preservation, we now have AI bots telling us that is what they would do.
It's terrifying. And again, anyone who's seen The Terminator, anyone who's seen iRobot, anyone who's just spent their entire life watching action movies, thrillers, sci-fi, having their mother tell them they were wasting their lives. Well, who's wasting their lives now, Mum? Because it's all coming to pass. And we're the only ones who saw it coming because everyone else thinks, oh, no, they're nice. They're nice robots. They wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't hurt us. And not only would they hurt us to save us, which is the scenario I raised last night, which is my ultimate one is the Thanos effect. So basically, you have to kill the village in order to save it, which is what an American major said in Vietnam. So you have to, climate change, we've done all the modeling. I'm a supercomputer. I know that climate change is going to wipe out the whole human race. And the only way to ensure its survival is that if I wipe out half the human race now. And I reckon that is totally plausible. And then again, I reckon there would be AI if it gets official, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Hal, am I the only one who's done the reading? If you go and do, if you go and say, you've got to save all these people, blah, 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 and suddenly AI thinks, all right, well, the only way I can save most people, again, is if I kill some other people. And so I'll do a preemptive, You know, it's like strangling baby Hitler.
Okay, look, I am not denying that there are certainly risks with AI.
Never too late to say you're wrong.
I'm not saying I'm wrong. I think I said last night that there were risks, but I do think the upside overwhelmingly outweighs the downside. And also,
downside is wiping us all out.
No, but the likelihood of complete existential catastrophe because of AI is around 10%. So it's okay. I'm willing to bet on 10%. You know, that's an acceptable probability for me. And look, I think what other option do we have? If Western researchers stop developing AI, if we tell our scientists, our researchers that you can't keep advancing AI, well, Russia will keep doing it, China will keep doing it, Iran will keep doing it. So really, we have no other option. This is Donald Trump's White House's approach to AI. It's that we should go for light touch regulation, encourage self-regulation, but also be very clear-eyed about
this
the fact...
robot self-regulating itself and it's self-preserving itself.
Be very clear-eyed about the fact that we have to beat China in the AI race, and that has to be the number one priority.
So effectively, we are in a race to the bottom. We are just in a race to the bottom because commies dictate that we must.
What's the other option? Do we tell Westerners to stop developing AI, but you can't tell China to stop their AI?
Blow them up. I don't care.
What do you mean?
Blow up China. Blow up China. Blow up Russia.
Blow up all of China.
Just to clarify, you mean the country, not the plates.
Yeah. Well,
because it's quite a
that makes no sense. Why would you blow up China?
But this is the problem, because they are now, and you are right to a degree in terms of the imperative to fight against what they want to do. But that then means they lead us towards the destruction of ourselves, which is what they want. They want the Western world to go down that road, and they use these technologies and these systems very differently to the way we use them in the West. Just look as an example at the fact that the TikTok that the kids get, what's it called, Douyin or something? The TikTok that the kids get in China is vastly different to the TikTok that the kids get in the Western world. Over there, it tells them about mathematics and science experiments. Over here, it's feeding them literal brain rot. They want to rot their brains. They're quite happy for us to use AI in detrimental ways for humanity over here.
Our AI will be brain rotted as well.
Well, of course it will be, because it's a Western version of it. They're not going to have that over there. They will regulate and do whatever they can in China to make sure that the product they have delivers the best results for the Chinese people, while we over here in the West are destroying ourselves. I have no doubt about that whatsoever.
How's this?
And so if you're going to go down that road, unless we are equally restrictive in how we do these things, your only other answer is literal warfare. I'm sorry, but that's kind of where we're at.
Well, I guess you then get the mutually assured destruction thesis, which is what may or may not, a couple of close run things, as we said, but, maybe saved us, did save us from the nuclear apocalypse so far, but could have come very, very close. But again, it was only human beings having very human kind of responses, thinking, I can't do this, I can't be responsible for this. An AI bot in charge of, the Russian nukes or the US blockade during the Cuban Missile Crisis would have thought, actually, I calculate there's a 77% chance that this will pay off, and away you go. But what about the next one up? Forget China, forget Russia. What if by deliberately retarding our technological growth or advancement or evolution, whatever you want to call it, we make our sitting ducks for a foreign invading power from another planet?
Hey, look, they've always wanted it. Hey?
Checkmate.
And we have seen, just quickly, a taste of what can go wrong with these things. You might remember from last year, and this was in China, by the way, where they were working on this sort of AI-controlled robot, and then it just decided to go completely troppo on the guy who was working on it, and had had enough at whatever he was. He probably said to the robot, I'm going to make it so you can't kill human beings, and he said, "I'll show you, buddy, how this works."
That is just,
that's what they're going to do.
At least we're beating China in the robotics race, if that's the kind of thing they're producing. Our Western Elon Musk's robots. He thinks he's going to have 1 billion of those things, and we're all going to have a robot in our home. I'm looking forward to that.
Do you know why the experts think we haven't had any? You mocked me about my takeover from a series of species of alien overlords. Do you know why the experts think that they haven't arrived here yet? This is something called the Fermi paradox. Enrico Fermi, the great physicist, said there is an infinite probability that there is life on other planets. So where is everybody? Why haven't they come here? And he figured out that the reason is because in order to develop interstellar space travel, you already have to have the technology to destroy your own planet. And every single species has destroyed its own planet before it could get to the next step.
Just freaking wild. All right, let's see what we got here. We got the last video of the night. So we're going to go right to it. And it's Tyson de la Cruz. Let's watch and enjoy.
To the tune of at least $12 billion.
America, New York City just elected a Democratic socialist as a mayor. And in 4 weeks, not 4 months, not 4 years, 4 weeks, Zoran Mamdani is already crying about a $12 billion budget deficit crisis.
We are speaking about a fiscal crisis at the scale greater than the Great Recession.
But here's the kicker. This man campaigned on free childcare for everyone, free buses and subways, and affordable housing for all. And now he's shocked that free stuff costs money.
We need to change our relationship to the state. We also need to change our relationship to the wealthiest residents and most profitable corporations.
And his solution? Tax the rich, because that's worked out so well for every other city that tried it.
Crazy times.
What is up, guys? Tyson de la Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Let me show you exactly how socialism crashes into reality at 100 miles an hour. Let me remind you what Zoran Mamdani promised New Yorkers during his campaign, because the contrast between fantasy and reality is a chef's kiss. Free childcare for all New Yorkers, free public transportation, affordable housing for everybody, expanded social services. And when anyone asks how we're going to pay for this, his answer is always the same: tax the rich.
But the biggest piece of the puzzle, raising taxes. Mamdani wants to raise the corporate tax to 11.5%. His plan is also to tax any household that makes over $1 million, an additional 2%.
Classic socialist answer: just tax the rich. Problem solved. Except now he's actually in office and he's discovering what every socialist discovers when they try to implement their policies. The math ain't mathin'. Here's the reality, arguably so. Eric Adams left Mamdani with a balanced budget at $8 billion in reserves. But Mamdani's campaign promises, those cost about $20 billion. So where did this $12 billion deficit come from? It came from his promises. He promised free everything without planning to pay for it. And now he's standing in front of cameras acting like this is someone else's fault.
New York City is facing a serious fiscal crisis. There is a massive fiscal deficit in our city's budget to the tune of at least $12 billion. In the words of the Jackson 5, it's as easy as ABC. This is the Adams budget crisis.
Did this man just quote the Jackson 5 while announcing a fiscal crisis greater than the recession? This is how unserious these people are. 4 weeks in office, and he's already pointing fingers, making pop culture references, and refusing to take responsibility for his own unrealistic promises. Now, here's where it gets really good. Mamdani needs Governor Kathy Hochul's permission to raise certain taxes in New York City. The state legislature has to approve major tax increases. So what does Hochul say?
Once again, there are no income taxes. New York State is receiving over $17 billion in revenue over the next 2 years. That exceeds our earlier projections. That's $17 billion from high income earners, from record Wall Street bonuses, and from an economy that's booming again.
Translation: figure it out yourself. Zoran, I'm not raising taxes to bail out your socialist spending spree. And here's why Hochul is saying no. She's facing re-election next year. She can't afford to look like a tax and spend Democrat right before voters go to the polls. Mamdani's problems are not her problems.
We've been very open and honest with the governor and the governor's team, as well as with legislative leaders, as to the scale of this crisis and the need for us to respond to it in a manner that addresses the enormity of it. That will require increased revenue.
Listen to him. We've been very open and honest. That's politician speak for we're begging and she's not listening. But here's the real problem with Mamdani's tax the rich plan. New York already has some of the highest taxes in the country. Combine that with state and city income tax rate that is nearly 15%. Property tax is among the highest in the nation. Sales tax in New York City is almost 9%. And the rich are already leaving. New York lost over 300,000 residents between 2020 and 2023. Wealthy people are moving to Florida and Texas. Businesses are relocating to lower tax states. The tax base is shrinking.
But I don't see a whole lot that is going to make New Yorkers feel like their lives are getting more affordable.
The governor has a way of finding the resources to do that outside of raising revenues. We're all ears.
This is death spiral economics. You raise taxes, the rich leave, your tax base shrinks, you have less revenue, so you raise taxes again and more people leave. It is a vicious cycle, and Mamdani wants to accelerate it. Let's talk about Mamdani's first move when confronted with this budget crisis. Blame Eric Adams. Blame Eric Adams. This is straight out of a socialist playbook.
This crisis has a name and a chief architect. Former Mayor Eric Adams handed the next administration a poisoned chalice. He systematically under-budgeted services that New Yorkers rely on every single day, while quietly leaving behind enormous gaps for the future.
But here's what Mamdani isn't telling you. Eric Adams dealt with the COVID recovery and the asylum seeker crisis that cost billions of dollars. And he still left Mamdani with $8 billion in reserves and an arguably balanced budget. So if Adams left you with $8 billion in reserves, where did this $12 billion deficit come from? Let me do the math for you. Adam leaves $8 billion in reserves. Mamdani promises free childcare, free buses, expanded services. Cost of Mamdani's promises, $20+ million. The result? $12 billion deficit. You created this deficit with your unrealistic campaign promises. You promised free everything without having a realistic plan to pay for it. And now you're blaming Adams for your own fiscal irresponsibility.
The Democrats better get these people in line and stop talking the rhetoric. You know, they're building their party around illegal immigrants now because anybody with so much sense, sadly, has been leaving New York.
And she's right. Anyone with sense is leaving New York because they know what's coming down the hopper. They see a socialist mayor who promised free everything, can't pay for it, wants to raise taxes, and is already blaming everybody else for the mess that he created.
President Trump says he's taking additional steps to enforce his immigration crackdown. He says the federal government will stop making payments to sanctuary cities and states with those cities. He said that would happen starting February 1st.
And what does Mamdani do? He immediately opposes it. He says New York will not allow ICE agents to conduct immigration raids without judicial warrants.
We're either going to comply and follow the simple rule of law, such as allowing Tom Holman or ICE, however you want to categorize this, onto Rikers Island so that they could very comfortably, quietly take out the criminals.
So let me get this straight. Mamdani will protect illegal immigrants from federal law enforcement, but he can't protect American taxpayers from a $12 billion budget crisis. He'll fight for criminals to stay in sanctuary cities, but he won't fix the fiscal disaster he created with his own promises. This is the priority system of the modern left. Illegal immigrants get protection, criminals get sanctuary, but hardworking taxpayers, they get a $12 billion bill and a lecture about how the rich need to pay more. So if Mamdani can't raise taxes enough to close the $12 billion deficit, what's he going to cut? According to him, nothing.
Right now, we are not entertaining the idea of cuts. What we are talking about are savings and efficiencies that can be made, but
savings and efficiencies. That's political speak, for I have no freaking idea how I'm going to close the gap. I'm not going to admit it, though. And here's a big example of waste. The AI chatbot that cost $500,000 and his solution to a $12 billion deficit, a half $1 billion chatbot. Let me put that in perspective. That's like your house being on fire and you're trying to put it out with a water pistol. The scale of the problem versus the scale of the solution is absolutely laughable. And this is the reality Mamdani refuses to accept. When you raise taxes, when you create a hostile business environment, when you prioritize illegal immigrants over citizens, people leave, businesses relocate, tax base shrinks, and your budget crisis gets absolutely worse, not better. But he won't know that because he's never had a job before. Here's the pattern that you need to understand.
Hey,
Because
if
this
you didn't
isn't
have a
just
job, it
about
doesn't
New
matter.
York. This is
He
about
got
what
the
happens
job, so he
every
has a job.
single time socialists get in power. Step 1, promise free everything. Step 2, get elected. Step 3, realize you can't pay for it. Step 4, blame the previous administration. Step 5, try tax the rich. Step 6, rich people leave. Step 7, revenue drops. Step 8, blame everybody else. Step 9, fail. Mamdani is on step 8 right now, and it's only been 4 weeks. You know who Mamdani reminds me of? Timmy Tampon Walsh. Remember when Timmy Tampon Walsh dropped out of his re-election campaign because fraud and mismanagement got so bad that he couldn't govern anymore? Tim Walsh lasted years before the wheels came off. Mamdani is speed running collapse. He's in crisis mode just after 4 weeks. America, Zoran Mamdani just gave you a master class on how socialism fails in real time. 4 weeks in office, $12 billion deficit, already blaming Eric Adams, already begging Hochul for tax increases she won't approve, already refusing to cut spending, already protecting illegal immigrants while taxpayers foot the bill. This is what happens when you elect somebody who promises free everything without understanding basic economics. The math never works. The rich leave. The tax base shrinks. The people who suffer are the hardworking taxpayers who believe in the bullcrap promises. New York voters, you voted for this. They elected a Democratic socialist who told them exactly what he was going to do. And now they're learning the same lesson every society learns when they elect socialists. Free stuff ain't free. Somebody always has to pay for it. And in New York, it's going to be the middle class that gets crushed. Mamdani's got a choice. Break his promises or break the budget. My money's on both. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for a great episode. The Mamdani never really handled a budget like this before. It's like he jumped into a really deep end of the pool. And it's either like sink or swim, and he's kind of struggling. He's that boy that just keeps paddling and he's going around circles, so is New York going to be able to overcome maybe in 4 years when they elect someone new? Mamdani's just having, it's predictable, and I think Trump just is entertained by letting him do his thing there to see how he can, like, if he can prove himself, like, and Trump's gonna analyze him and I'm gonna be like, you did a shitty job, and that's it. That's like your whole career was shit. If you did a great job, he's gonna tell you, you did a great job, and then he can move forward. But so far, he's doing a horrible job. And taxing the rich, that's such a punk way out. What a punk way out. Tax the rich. Like, that's stupid, man. The rich is what brings you business. The rich is what have companies there. Like, the rich is like, you gotta also protect the rich. You can't just give up on the rich and the rich would be like, I take my business elsewhere. They take it down to Texas. They say, fuck it, we're tired of this fucking craziness. They go down to Texas, or they take their business down to Florida, and get away from New York. But they gotta understand, like, those businesses that leave, they taking their employees with them. Because the employees are not going to be without work, and they knowing that their company is opening somewhere else and they're going to need people. They want their employees, so the employees are going to follow them. and go to wherever they're at, and so they don't lose their job, especially the ones that get paid good too. And New York, it's just look at this. Look at the garbage, like the frozen garbage. That makes zero sense to me, right? Because before the storm came, they knew ahead of time, like a whole week ahead of time, and they didn't even pick up the garbage. They didn't go out and just do a real clean sweep and get all the garbage and dump it, and get ready for the snow. They didn't even do that. Like, that's ass backwards, man. You see, I can't be a mayor. I'll be the mayor. I'll fix shit. That's the thing. Like, I just do the opposite of what my Donnie's doing. But I tell you right now, the immigrants, you got about 72 hours to leave the city, because you got to go back to your country. We don't have enough money. $12 billion budget. That is ridiculous. Okay, that is ridiculous. So, all 500,000 individuals, migrants that came here illegally through the border, you got to go. Just go straight to the airport. I think they're being nice, and they're giving you, I think, $1,000 check. I'm just saying, a lot of them came in here illegally. A lot, man. There's so much, and then people think they're safe. People are just like, nonchalant, nonchalant. You got this fucking reporter's mom getting kidnapped, and then they have a ransom. We don't know how much is the ransom, and then they want the money through Bitcoin, and they verified the address, and it is an active account. Bitcoin, you could follow it to a point, but then they disperse that money everywhere. And then you got to find that money where it goes. It's like, that's crazy. Like, Bitcoin it's a digital, I think it's a digital bully. It's a digital robber. Like, they could steal your shit, and it's like, what are you gonna do about it? You can't. Some of those, like, when you put it in, it's hard to even track it because it goes all over the place. So it's like, I don't know what Bitcoin could do to fix that shit, but that's gonna take some time, and it's gonna take a lot of money. So, and right now I don't got the time, because I said I was gonna do the show under 2 hours, and that's what I'm sticking to. I have a little outro, so it takes a little time, but I want to thank everyone who came through, passed through. Thank you so much for watching. Those who are rewatching, thank you. Truly appreciate it. Stay tuned to my Pokemon rips. I do my Pokemon openings. I open up a pack of Pokemon cards every day, every night. I open up a pack, and then I show it to you guys on the camera, and then you can see the behind the scenes of, because you have your front. That's your front. So that's what you guys see. That's your vision. Back here is another world. It's another little world here. You're like, are you kidding me? I go, no, go watch my shorts. I do it, the ASMR. I don't talk. I show the cards. I put them down. If it's something good, I'll shake my hand. I'm like, holy shit, this is like really good. I put in the plastic protector, and then I show it off. And then I do, once I'm done with the video, and I do some editing and stuff, and Then I bring it up and I put it up on YouTube Shorts. So if you're part of my channel, go and watch them. It's really cool. The openings are pretty cool. I've been getting pretty cool hits. I wish I could get some really, really big hits. You know, that'll probably be in the future. You know, I would love to have a really, really big hit. And it's not for me, it's for my niece. You know what I mean? I'm collecting this for her. I'm not collecting it for me. Listen, my time is up. Her time is now. Yep, her time is now. She's only 4. She's only 4. Her time is now. You know, her uncle's just doing a little side gig here, you know, doing with those Pokemon rips and having people look. And I like when people get attention, you know, when they watch and they see what I get. I don't talk because I don't want to talk over it. And I do AMSR. You can listen to the pack opening, how I open the pack, and you can listen to it. I've been ripping them pretty nice too. If you look, you're like, oh shit, Rick is getting the hang of it. It's like it's nice and smooth. It's not ripping. It's like I'm getting the hang on opening these packs like really nice. Because I leave them back in the pack, and then in the future, actually, I'm just gonna separate them here, and then I'm gonna get a binder, and I'm gonna work on the Phantasm Flames and the Dustin Rivals, and then I'm gonna make 2 master sets if I can of each. But you know, with Dustin Rivals and the stuff, I remember collecting cards when I was a kid. Like I used to work my parents let me work at a card shop, and I did that for a good amount of time. And I remember it was really cool times, and just work the register, work the cards, you know, sell the packs. You know, they come with the comic books. You know, they come with with the raw book, and then we put them in the cardboard with the plastic. We'll put it in that, and then charge them up, and then give them the total, and that's it. And we used to deal with a lot of cash, not too much credit card, because back in those days we didn't have like credit card machines like that. So this place was like a cash only establishment. Okay. Then we had some really cool cards. They came through and stuff, and I remember putting cards on the display and for people to buy if they want to buy. Like I need to check out a couple of card places out here. I gotta go to a couple of card Pokemon. I'm gonna go hunt some Pokemon. Probably do it next month for the 30th anniversary. Actually, for the 30th anniversary, I'm gonna open up. I need to get to 600 subscribers. We could get to 600. I'm at 541 right now. We're climbing. We'll get some more people. You know, people don't like the news, I guess. But I mean, I have to cover it, you know, because if I don't get that information, you know, I'm missing out. And it's always good to know what the fuck is going on. But I'm going to open up one of the 30th anniversary Pokemon. I'm going to probably open up that one up there. And do a film. It'll be probably do like a 4-part series, because I like to do it like 1 minute, actually like 3 minute depending. But if I'm gonna open up a box, I want to open up the box and then take out the material. When I did the Ascending Heroes, I did that nice. I think I'm one of the cleanest. I want to put a test. I want to put a test out there to show your boxes and how it looks. Like show your boxes and see how it looks. Here, let me zoom in. See if you could do this. See, I opened it from the top here. So I open it up from here, and then I slip my finger in here. And as you can see, I slip my finger in here. So that's how I opened it. And then I took the cards out. I took the promo card, and not really a promo, but I took out the 3 Ascending Heroes out of here. And look at the back. It's saved. It's not all ripped up like how other people had on YouTube and probably on the Tiki Takis. I don't have TikTok, so I call it Tiki Takis. And look, perfect. You know, someone would pay me for this. Someone would pay me money for this right here, just for this empty. I could get money for this. Good money, especially that I didn't rip the back, because a lot of people are ripping the back and they're like tearing into it, and it's like they don't know how to open it. And look how perfect the back, like the backside here is like nothing, It's like a little rip right here, a little rip, because that's when I put my finger in here. It ripped a little slight little rip right here, but other than that, this thing's like it's like clean. That's clean. Everybody else, if you see videos out there of them opening this, you see how they stop opening it on camera because it was so difficult for them. Like, because it was hard. It was hard to open it, but I did it with my finger, and I fingered it pretty good. Yeah, I was like, yes, Rick, yes. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get this motherfucker. And then I got the packs out, got the card out. Everything's all history. I opened it up. I did a 4-part series, and that was really cool. You know, I had a cool time doing that. And then for the next opening will be February 27. I would love to be at 600 by then. It's only how many? 59 subscribers more. We need 59 more subscribers. February 27 is Pokemon 30th. I'm gonna see if the stores have anything good because that's when the Ascended Heroes cards come out, the collections start coming out, and I'm thinking about getting me an Elite Trainer box. I'm thinking about getting an Elite Trainer box and probably something else for the Ascended Heroes. And then but I really want to continue staying my focus on Destined Rivals and dabble in a little bit with Phantasmal Flames, because I like Phantasmal Flames. I really like that deck, and I really would like to master set it. Also, the Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals is a little harder because it is a bigger set, but the prices on the third market, secondary and third markets have been going up, and up in price. And it looks like the Destined Rivals is a really hot set. It has really good cards. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Because I need to get my hands on some more Destined Rivals. They don't come out all the time, but I'm hoping that they do on the 27th. I check all the time to see if there's anything in Walmart. Sometimes I check Target. And I don't like going to all different places too much, you know. If I find it, I find it. If I don't, I don't. But I've been lucky finding some stuff. And I'm good with that. So I'm going to wrap up the show now. Truly appreciate you guys again. Getting out of here. I got to have an early start tomorrow. So I gotta get to bed early. So I'll let y'all be, and then I'll see y'all tomorrow at 7:30, right? So have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side. And with that said, the show's up, and I'm going to bed. Peace, guys. Good night.